Avowed is here. It's Obsidian's new game, and oh my god, wait. Was that the NCR Ranger from Fallout New Vegas? Fallout New Vegas to Return to Vegas has been confirmed. Sorry. Anyways, I'm kind of enjoying Avowed. Kinda. Granted, these are my initial impressions. I've only played for around 4 hours of the game, and in reality it's more like 3. So because of that, I won't and well can't really talk about the story or spoilers in great depth. I was provided a free code by Xbox and downloaded the game today with everyone else that has early access. So, how is it? Well, for first impressions, the game does an amazing job. The intro cinematic and artwork are beautiful, and I love the simplicity of the main menu, but I am sort of a sucker for this tan colour they have in the background. Obviously, you have a character creator. Your character is god-touched, so you have these weird spore mushroom plant thingies on your head. You can hide these though, don't worry, although NPCs will make a comment on them because your character does canonically have them. But that brings us onto the background section. There's not really all that many, with 5 options all having the Emperor intervening at some point and taking you under their wing. These have no impact other than adding unique dialogue and changing your starting weapon. The variety here is decent enough to where one of them will most likely fit into what you want your character to be. And next up, you can assign attribute points into 5 categories, these being might, constitution, dexterity, perception, intellect, and resolve. Each one provides benefits to 2 stats. For example, dexterity increases your attack and action speed, whereas resolve increases your max stamina and something called your second wind efficiency, but more on that later. After you create your character, we get a look at this really cute little animal that unfortunately gets turned into this by something called the Dream Plague, which is why we're travelling to the Living Lands. But the ship we're travelling on isn't exactly smooth sailing. It gets destroyed by cannon fire, and we wake up on a beach. But this is where I sort of checked out of it at first. The blue little guy here created the disdain in me I haven't felt since first meeting Paimon in Genshin Impact. Which is sort of funny considering this game was originally a multiplayer one. He just sort of talks a lot, and bear in mind at this point I've only had like 10 seconds of gameplay in the 20 minutes of footage. Anyways, this game looks amazing. Have I mentioned that yet? I'm a massive fan of the art design here, which caught me off guard because, well, the trailers and previous gameplay footage didn't really grab me that much. But being able to experience myself, it's a really stunning world and has some moments in it that are close to jaw-dropping. After talking to the little blue guy and picking up our weapon, we get our first combat encounter. I decided to play on the hardest difficulty, Path of the Damned, so enemies were sort of a challenge. In terms of combat, you have melee weapons, wands, bows, and guns. These are pretty fun to use. I have heard that melee can become a bit boring, and honestly I was kind of feeling it here with just how much health the enemies have, as the complexity for these weapons largely seems to just be how long you want to hold down your right mouse button for. You have sneaking, blocking, and parrying, the latter of which you don't have access to at the start of the game. Don't be like me and think because this enemy in the tutorial can parry you that you can parry them back, because you can't. At least not until you get the perk, which thankfully is available as soon as you get your first skill point. I died a bit here whilst playing on Path of the Damned, and in general to things that I kind of felt like I shouldn't have died to. Sometimes enemies will lunge incredibly fast towards you, you'll get hit from miles away off screen, and that second wind mechanic I mentioned earlier during the character creator comes back here. You get one chance to cheat death, although this to me felt a bit clunky. It didn't really feel like it fit in. But who knows, maybe this is just a relic from the game's multiplayer days. But after getting to grips with the combat a bit more, I did beat the encounter, and the combat's actually not too bad. You have a dodge which you can use by pressing space, although this is contextual. Sometimes you will jump instead if an enemy's not close enough, and this can really be annoying, but the dodge combined with the parry can make you feel near invincible at points. And it is admittedly pretty fun, with this only seemingly getting better as you get deeper into the game and unlock more abilities. Both weapons and armor in Avowed have rarities. It doesn't feel like Borderlands though. You can level up gear with materials and there's even an enchantment system. Uniques in this truly feel unique. I was wandering around and found this boss that dropped a flaming dagger. Not only did it look different with a nice fire visual effect, but it also applied fire damage, and this made clearing a spider cave I found not long after a lot easier, saving me from having to cast a spell to destroy the webs. Although it is this rarity system that has also annoyed me the most. See, when getting this dagger, the enemies here had better gear than me. Because of that, my weapons would bounce off their armor and do less damage. This fight was still doable, but I just hope it doesn't become an issue later on where you physically can't kill some enemies because their gear is just too high of a level. But I did enjoy wandering around the Living Lands. Or, well, more specifically, the starting area, because, well, that's all I've really seen so far. The game's split up much like the Outer Worlds planets are, so you have smaller open world sections in various regions. But unlike the Outer Worlds, exploring felt meaningful. Granted, the unique dagger and armor I found were both dropped by enemies that I assume are for bounties as they dropped quest items after the fact, but the ability to just sort of stumble across them naturally felt really nice and rewarding. Movement in general feels smooth and makes exploration that much more enjoyable. Anyways, back to the tutorial. We stumble across a prisoner, you can either free her or leave her there. We kill a boss and then you get spoken to by this crystal. Why did it speak to you? Well, that's one of the main mysteries of the game as far as I can tell. And it's one that is quite gripping. Although this moment for me was instantly ruined because in a follow-up dialogue option with Blue Paimon saying I just zoned out and was fine, he insisted that I heard a voice, something which he himself claims he's never seen before.
Different? I only asked whether you could hear me. Unless... Hang on. Did you hear another voice? What did it say?
But thankfully, in my short playtime, this and some very cliche dialogue akin to "he's standing right behind me, isn't he?" have been the only real bits of dialogue that have completely shattered my immersion. It's a shame it's seemingly all front-loaded if other reviews are anything to go by. After this though, you'll go on a boat and finish your journey to the Living Lands and Avowed truly begins. This game is set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. Unfortunately, I haven't played those, so I can't exactly say how well it fits in, but there are seemingly a lot of references to events and key players in that franchise. But overall, I'm enjoying my time with Avowed. It's a good game that's unfortunately disappointed some. Its RPG elements have been described as lacking, and to be fair, from the prologue alone, you can sort of feel that. But it's also one that's been overshadowed by other RPG releases this month. Is Avowed a bad game? No, not by far. But it's one that I can see having videos in a couple years' time along the lines of "Why did no one talk about Avowed?" or "Avowed Obsidian's hidden gem" or something like that. But anyways, if you enjoyed, maybe consider liking or subscribing. We're kind of close to 15k, really hope to reach it. And I'm probably going to have some more Avowed content this week. So yeah, with that being said though, I hope to see you all next time.